What is up, everybody? This is Recap Rewind. I'm J-Lag.
And I'm NB.
And we are recapping and reviewing American Horror Story Apocalypse, which is Season 8 and Episode 7. And it's called Traitor.
Ooh.
Traitor.
And don't forget, guys, stick around for the ending because we are going to go through our recap roundups, our best moments from the episode, and our MVPs or LVPs. So stick around for that.
And for anyone who's just joining us, thank you so much for coming through. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. And for any of our returning listeners, thanks for coming back. Let's get into the episode, y'all.
What'd you think of it?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I think there was a lot of lead up. I keep forgetting about the fact, I don't forget about the fact that this is all still in the past, like past.
Yes, it keeps
we're still not back in the present moment. So we're in episode 7. We haven't caught ourselves up just yet. We got a lot of answers this episode, but I just think that there's still so much more that we need to get through. And I don't know how much more time we're going to be sitting in the past before we get to the final few bits. I guess there's 3 more episodes, right? So
yeah.
What did you think?
No, I liked it. I think it was a little bit of a filler, but I think we still needed it to show us like kind of what's happening in the background and the backstory with like Cordelia, right? Cordelia and like the witches. I thought they brought back a couple of people that I didn't think we'd ever see again.
For sure.
So that was cool. I don't know. It was okay. It was an okay episode.
So right off the top, we see Dinah Stevens, and she is doing some voodoo on some white bitch.
Yeah.
Like in the blackness, like she pulls out her heart and she like starts bleeding, and then this person, I guess we assume that she dies, because then she shows up at some other white bitch's house and she's like getting money from her. She's getting like cashola, and the woman hands her the cash, and then she pulls out like a heart. Like the heart that she pulled out from the girl, and she gives it to her.
It's
she
like in a Ziploc bag.
Yeah, she's like, here you go. And then she like pulls together some sort of like situation where she puts it into a blender, and then she puts in like fingernails and like a few like more potions.
Yeah, they make like a smoothie basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
She mentions like something about like a cheating husband, or like I'm going to cut his dick off or something like that. So you're assuming that, like, okay, like, it's a spell for, like, a cheating husband's, like, situation.
Yeah. That assumption is that the girl that she, like, pulled the heart out of was, like, the girl that
mistress.
he was cheating on.
Yeah.
The mistress. So, anyway, so then I'm like, what are they doing, though? Like, are they just going to kill the guy?
It looks
like,
so
why
cool.
do they need, like, a potion?
Yeah.
So then he's strapped to the bed, and it looks like there's some, like, S&M situation going on. And he, like, his blindfolds are on, and she puts a funnel in his mouth and makes him, like, forces him to drink this drink, which is like the blood and like
the toenails,
yeah, the heart and whatever. And then he passes out. And it's funny because like this character is from like a comedy show, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and like normally he's like so funny, but he looked like it was just random.
He was dead ass serious and holding on for his life.
So anyway, he passes out, and then it shows Dinah being like, don't worry, he's never going to cheat on you ever again. As soon as he wakes up, he's going to forget everything. And the girl's like, yes, bitch, thank you. And then she's leaving. And then as she's leaving, she bumps into Cordelia. And Cordelia's like, oh, hey, like, oh, you up to doing this stuff now? And she says to her right away, she's like, I'll never forgive your coven for what you did to our queen. And then we find out that like she's talking about Marie Laveau,
right? And
the fact that, you know, since our like Marie Laveau died last season, or in season 3, Cordelia is like, you know, that we had nothing to do with that, low key, but that also makes you like rise to the next like step. You're technically the queen of voodoo now.
The voodoo. It's crazy though, like how everyone keeps questioning Cordelia. Like everyone's like, bitch, you screwed us over, or like you did this, you forgot about this. Like everyone keeps blaming Cordelia, and she's sort of had to like pick up the pieces literally like all freaking season, and like really like protect her witches, her coven. Like it's crazy. Like she does a really good job too.
Because it's not even really just Cordelia. It's also like her undoing a lot of like what Fiona had done.
Yes, exactly.
So
yeah,
like, you know, it's like her mom that got Marie Laveau into that situation because she tried to like double cross her. So yeah. Anyway, so she says that to her, and she's like, what are you doing this for? You should be like joining a coven or whatever. She's like, I have no followers. Everybody's like dipped out. You know, she's like, New Orleans is like a waste case. She's like, this place is lame. I'm just doing this to make money. And then she's like, I need you to meet up, like to do something for me. And she asked for her to set up a meeting between her and Papa Legba. And she's like, you that's like a pretty big request. Like, if you ask for this, I'm gonna like, okay, fine, but like this is a pretty serious situation. And then she asked for like $100,000.
Yeah, she just wants straight up cash. Like, this girl's out here trying to make money moves. Like, she doesn't care about like anything else. She just wants straight cash.
Which is fine. And I wonder if we're going to keep going deeper into Dinah Stevens' character, because I feel like we only got enough of like how she might have gotten her like first mill, but then after that she like becomes a talk show host. Like, does she become like some next level like Miss Psychic? Like, who knows? Like, we don't know what the situation is.
I don't know, and I really can't see them doing much more with her at this point, because we're so deep into the season, and like at this point we're gonna have to start turning gears into like you were saying, like the present with Michael. Yeah. Like, her introduction was a little late, I feel like, at this point, but I get why they did it now, because like we need to see Papa Legba too, so like I get why it happened now. It just felt very late, you know. I
will say though, like, I'm not sure why they gave her like that whole like Oprah storyline then, if she was just like making big money moves, like being a voodoo queen, you know. Anyway, so then that happens, and then it like randomly cuts to like a Christmas horror movie. It's like Black Christmas kind of, and it's like starring Bubbles McGee, and you're like, who the F is Bubbles McGee? And then you find out that Joan Collins is back, but as I want
you to call me Bubbles from now on. Bubbles.
So like in this fake movie, it was actually kind of like low-key scary.
Yeah, it was.
I was watching it and I was like, got scared. So she kills her husband for getting her like flats instead of heels.
Yeah. Which then, everyone should do if that happens to them.
So savage. So then, so as that's happening, she gets some guy comes to her door wearing like a Santa Claus Santa Claus outfit, and he looks like really sketchy, and I'm like, oh god, this looks bad. And then sure enough, like there's like the radio saying that like it's a killer on the loose, and then he comes down like the chimney and like attacks her.
Yeah.
So anyway, whatever. It's like it's all a fake movie, and then it cuts like when he starts coughing.
Yeah.
And
so
then
like really quickly, I just want to talk about Joan Collins, because like when we saw her in the beginning of this season, I was like, that's it? Like, this girl's gone? Like, you brought like a legendary character in for this like little moment. But I love the fact that they brought her back for this episode, and like they gave her like an amazing, like they gave her some amazing lines, and I was just so happy with it, because she's so effing iconic. Like, it was really well done. You know
what's funny? It took me like a hot second to realize that she was playing a brand new character, because I don't know, Joan Collins is so good at playing like herself. So like even as grandma, she was
you're right,
still like Joan Collins. So even as Bubbles, I was like, is she Joan Collins or is she like the grandma? Like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, she has this very like chic air about her. Very classy, and so you feel like you're watching the real her, which I guess they used her for that. You know what I mean? Like a very old Hollywood look kind of thing.
For sure. Speaking of old Hollywood, Madison walks into the set while she's getting her like snacks at the craft table, and she's like, well, you old fart, like, what are you doing here? And you can tell that they have history. So the history is that Bubbles was a part of the Coven, and she kind of like dipped because she was like over it, but also she was like, Madison was kind of a biatch, so she left because like Madison was annoying her.
Yeah.
And then you also find out in this moment that she has like telepathy. She's able to like
hear people's thoughts.
Yeah, she was able to hear the Santa's thoughts as he was walking by. So it's very like, what's it called, like Bewitched. Like it's very like Samantha. Like even like the twinkle sound that like you hear when she gets to hear the voices. It's very like throwback to the old school witch. Which is cool.
You know what? It's interesting that you just said that quickly. I just want to talk about, because this episode we really get to see these other witches who have kind of like campy powers, like especially with Evie Gallant. Yeah, like her hearing, and it was very cute and charming. And then you see Dinah Stevens with that whole like she's using her powers to just make cash basically. And then we see Coco later with her powers. So it was very cute to like see these witches that had these powers that were kind of just like very like cheesy and campy and not really like that serious.
Yeah, for
but
sure,
can be serious, can be used for really powerful purposes. So it was just cute how like they put them all together like in one episode.
Yeah. So then it cuts to, well, Madison basically keeps talking. They have like a really funny banter between the two of them, like being young, being old. And then she was like, you've been summoned, like the apocalypse is coming and like no one is safe, not even anyone with like age spots. And she's like, damn, shade. So then it cuts to them chilling. It's Bubbles, Myrtle, and Madison. They're chilling and having a drink.
I love this
at the
scene.
table.
I love this scene.
I know, it's like one of my favorite moments of the episode.
Yeah.
And they all start talking, and then you realize that Madison finds out at this point that she is a telepath, but she's not just like a regular telepath. She like literally like hears your soul. Like that's what Myrtle says. And so you find out that there's history between Myrtle and Bubbles as well. Like they were part of the same like class, I guess. And it's also like a moment where you find out that like Myrtle learned about having like doing fellatio from Bubbles, and they're both like sucking on like pickled onions, so it was like really really weird looking.
That's the sisterhood.
The sisterhood of the fellatio.
Yeah.
So anyway, Madison's just like, okay, let's get real, let's like turn this conversation because you guys are getting weird. And she's like, we have a huge issue. And yeah, Bubbles gets filled in both by Myrtle and Madison's thoughts because she's like, I can hear it. You guys are sketched out. You guys are really worried. And Bubbles doesn't seem to be too worried because she's like, you guys are just concerned because he's a man. Like, you're not, like, it's not that big of a deal, but we'll see how it goes.
So this is all happening basically after Murder House, but before the first few episodes.
Correct.
So yeah, it's pretty confusing. Yeah.
It is very confusing because I didn't know like how anyway, we'll talk about that after.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so they want her to read his mind or try to figure out what's going on. And she's like, no, there's also some people who might be betraying the Warlock Coven. So we need to figure out what their end game is as well. So she's like, okay, cool. So then it cuts back to Dinah and Cordelia, and they're doing like a voodoo connection with Papa Legba. And it's like this whole situation. And then he shows up. And
I missed him because I loved him so much because he terrified the F out of me. Like that's my love story with Papa Legba. Like the way they did his kind of his cinematics, the sounds, like his voice, how it has like the echoes. Everything about him is so effing creepy, but I love it so much because he's such a cool like villain. He's not really like a villain. He's like kind of in the middle, but yeah.
Yeah, he's a devil, but he's in for himself only. Like it's always about like making a deal with him, striking a deal with him. But I will say that I wish that they gave him a few subtitles because the Creole accent is so hard to understand just in like real life. And I was like, what are you saying? He's like, welcome to see you. I'm so happy.
Oh my God, you did it so good.
Was it? That sounded more like
that was amazing.
But anyway. So her deal, Cordelia's deal, is essentially she wants to take Michael and like throw him through the gates of hell and like leave him there. Like, so anyway, and on top of that, he's still like, imagine him as a demon. He's like, he plays for Satan. He's on Satan's team, but he's like a rebel. Like he goes rogue and he does his own thing. So then he does say, he's like, you want me to betray Satan's boy? He's like, I'm going to be putting myself at risk. So this is going to like be like worth a lot of money or whatever. Yeah. And then as he's saying that, he was like, well, you know, like you gave me something special. Like Fiona gave me something special last time. And then like Nan appears. Like she comes through.
I just got like chills.
I was so freaking happy because you know what's funny? Like right in the very beginning when she's like, I want to see Papa. I was like, oh my God, she's going to try to bring back Nan.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
I didn't think that she was going to come back. But then, like, I didn't think anything of it because I think that even one of our commenters told us that Jamie Brewer decided not to sign on for the season. So I didn't think that she was going to show up at all. So when he showed up and then she came up behind him, I was like, this is amazing. Like, everybody showed up.
Were her credits in the opening sequence? Like in the...
I didn't look this time.
Oh, okay.
I didn't look this time, so I wasn't sure.
Me neither. I didn't look, but I freaking opened Twitter or Instagram. I think it was Instagram right before the episode finished, and like everyone was like, "She's back!" I'm like, "Great!" Like everyone just ruined it. Like Nan's back.
No.
Yeah. So like
I was
knew.
so happy to see her.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know she was coming back, so I was very, very happy. But yeah, she's just like a cute character. I mean, I think she doesn't like. She's not going to be able to add anything to the story right now.
She's basically living her best life with Papa. Like she does not want to come back. Like she's good.
Yeah, she's like hell is fun.
They're like, yeah. She's like, I make like so much mischief. Like she was just so
she's like,
happy.
I make trouble.
Yeah. So I'm like, girl,
So-
do you like whatever.
So anyway, he says that the price that he needs to pay is like he wants the souls, and he's like, I don't want just like one soul. I want all of your girls' souls so I can like start a coup, because like his idea is that he wants to start a coup in hell with all these like witch souls. And then you know, like even Nan is like, I want to see my friends, like come through, ho. And then she's like, I can't do it. Cordelia's like, I can't do it. Even Dinah was like, be selfish, like they're gonna die anyway, like go and do it. And she's like, I can't do that. And he's like, okay, well that's your only deal, bye. Yeah. So he disappears.
And then he disappears.
So that's her like, so basically that's her like last straw, right? Like she doesn't know what she can do at that point in time. And so anyway, that cuts to, and then it cuts back to the house in New Orleans, the Coven, and this is another amazing moment.
Oh,
We were
so
like
cute.
back-to-back amazing moments.
Yeah.
So it's Mallory, Zoe, and Queenie, and they're all just like chilling at the table, and Mallory's asking like, how's the new Supreme? And you know, Queenie's like, actually he's not even our Supreme yet. And then Mallory's like, but like, how does that work? And then so Zoe has to explain to her that the only way for a Supreme to rise is if the other one dies. So then like Mallory's like, oh shit, like that means that like Cordelia's gonna have to die first. So then in that moment, Coco comes in and she's like so happy.
She's like, guys,
oh my God,
guys, like I have a new like magic
She's
trick.
like, my powers are growing. She's, I'm so excited. And then it cuts to like the next shot, and it's like her holding a freaking cupcake, and she's like,
guys,
like
the
her
sound,
eyes roll the back of her head.
The sound effect alone, I think I was like drinking something or like eating, so I wasn't looking. I look up, all I hear is like this. I'm like, what the hell is that?
It was so
It was
funny.
the best. Like it was the best.
Like right away, she rolls her eyes in the back of the head, and she's like 476 calories. I'm like, oh my God, she's a calorie counter, and she's
literally
so
Weight
happy
Watcher.
about
It's
it.
like literally a walking
She's literally
Weight Watchers.
I was dying of laughter, so because then they were like, okay, maybe that's a fluke. Like, let's do all these
And like
different
the
foods.
best part was like the girls weren't like, what the hell is that? Like, what kind of thing is that? They were like, sick. Like, let's test it out
They
for
got, like,
real.
lit for her.
They like got all these desserts. They made like pies. They're like, how many calories are in this pie?
Yeah. So there's like a montage of her just like checking everything, like 64 calories.
And like
it's just like
all you hear is like
every moment.
64,
Yeah.
85. Like it was so funny.
I was dead.
I know,
I
I
was
was
dying
dead.
so hard. So then Queenie, she's like, okay, one last test. She like runs into the room, and she comes back with like a snowball, and she's like, you need to like stretch your powers and see if this works. And then she's like, okay. And she's like, 80 calories. And then everyone's like, no, you got that wrong. Like, there's no way that snowball is
can be
80 calories.
Yeah.
And then she Queenie turns it around. There's like 2 bites missing. And she's like, oh, okay, true. Like that's correct. And then like everybody's so happy. And then she takes a bite, like Coco takes a bite of the snowball, and then she starts to choke.
Yeah.
And then like this part.
And
killed me
everyone's like
too.
lit. Everyone's like, yes, like she's so sick. And she's like,
She's like literally like, I'm dying. And then everybody's like, this is the part kind of killed me too, because like literally Zoe was like, are you okay? And then she like, breathe, girl, breathe. I'm like, when you're choking, you
can't breathe. That
That's
is the point.
idea.
So you are choking.
I'm like, I was dying of laughter because like while like Zoe's screaming, and freaking Queenie's like, oh, she's dead. Like,
Yeah.
she's just like sitting in the corner and be like, oh, she's choking.
She's like, is this bitch dead for real though?
So she like collapses on the floor, and Mallory all the while is like just kind of watching her. She literally kneels down, slits her neck open, pulls out the little chunk that was stuck in her throat, and then stitches her back up, and she's like awake again.
Yeah.
I'm like, these 3 witches all of them have powers, like all the powers in the world, and no one can do CPR like a normal person. Like,
seriously,
I don't understand.
like they waited for her to die. You would think they would do it like as this girl's choking to death. Like they wait for her to collapse on the ground.
Like Zoe's literally out here being like, breathe, girl, breathe. Like the other one's just like, oh, she's dead. Like this one's slitting her neck open. Like one of you need to know CPR.
Yeah.
Like this can actually happen in real life.
Yeah.
Or like use your powers. Like no one. You're telling me that none of you could just like Like,
it just felt very
like that shit out of her throat.
It just felt very like they all just were like, huh, she's choking, what? And then like everyone's just like in slow-mo, like no one's doing anything.
I mean, it was obviously just a moment for us to see how much power Mallory has, but like,
and I love how Mallory's like, she's very quiet. Like she doesn't talk that much. She doesn't really insert herself like heavily into the thing, but like when she knows that she can like do something, she just kind of like, she's like, wait, I think I can save her. She like kneeled down and then like she did this like next level like spell and it was crazy.
They're all like, what did you do? She's like, I saved her life.
Yeah.
Bye. Like she just like dips.
Yeah.
Like, she's so random.
She's so amazing.
And Zoe's like getting gagged. She's like, I've never seen that spell before. Like, I've never even seen how would you cast that? So anyway, she's like already like realizing that Mallory is super, super powerful.
Yeah.
And then it cuts back to the bunker. And this is like Myrtle's like special plan. And she's playing the theremin, which is like one of the scariest instruments of all time.
I hate
this thing so
when
much.
she plays
so
this
creepy.
thing. I effing love it. She's so cool. Like there's something really cool about
Myrtle?
her. Yeah.
Myrtle Snow.
I don't know, like
Such
her
a
hair
weirdo.
her hair is on point. She's like my cool grandma that I like always wanted. Like I don't know.
She's like
there's
witty
just something
as fuck.
so cool.
She like has the best lines ever. So she's playing the theremin and like Bubbles is like literally jamming out.
Yeah.
She's like, yes,
She's like, yes, girl,
like, get into
make
it.
that rhythm, let me dance. Like it was so like their sisterhood is so effing cute. Like it's just
It is
too
cute.
much.
Especially to see them like see these witches who like were part of the coven so long ago and now they're older witches and they're still like lit together.
Yeah.
It's adorable. So then it cuts to the warlocks and the warlocks come in, they're like, what the fuck are you guys doing in this bunker? And Bubbles is like, hey, I'm Bubbles, let's have dinner, hennies. And they're asking where Michael is, but they're like, oh, he's on like a wilderness.
He's like in the woods
situation.
Yeah.
He's literally in the woods and he's like trying to discover himself. And even Myrtle was like, yeah, that's pretty normal. Like Cordelia had to do the exact same thing. And so anyway, they're having dinner and they're just sitting there. And of course, like Bubbles is starting to read their minds. And Ariel's like, I guess no one's going to ask about John Henry. Like so randomly, like that's your thought of the conversation. Yeah. And then even the other guy, I forget his name like something Penny, something or other, Baldwin Pennypacker.
Oh my
he's
God.
like, he's also like, I can't wait till all of the witches are dead. So both of them are kind of conspiring, which I didn't realize.
Throwing so much shade.
I didn't know that both of them like hated the witches so much. I thought it was just Ariel, but you can clearly like it's like Asian attacks.
Yeah.
Like you just want to like go after them.
Yeah.
So then I think also Myrtle shows a little bit of her power. She has like, does she have power of persuasion? I'm not really sure because she's like, there was like this chime that came in and then she's like, oh, it's getting late. And they're like, oh, true.
Yeah, I think it was late. When they drank the wine. I almost feel like she put like a spell on the wine.
Like spiked it.
And then when they drank it, like she had control as to like what the wine would do to them. That's what I took from it. And so
like, okay, just like wine on a general level.
Yeah, exactly. Like they just chugged this amazing like freaking like $10,000 bottle of wine, and then they're like, "We're sleepy. We're gonna go now."
So then you find out Bubbles basically says like they murdered like one of their own, and they now want to kill all witches. Yeah. So the thing that kind of like annoyed me was, don't we already know? Like, aren't we assuming that that's what they're doing anyway? Like they're already like. They've always been going after the witches.
Exactly.
They've never liked the witches.
I don't know why it was such a surprise at this moment.
Yeah. Anyway, so then it cuts to Cordelia, and she's having like a little dinner with all of her girlfriends, like all of the girls.
Yeah.
They're like kumbayaing together.
She said something interesting. She was like, guys, just enjoy this moment because like we might not have it again. And like I know she meant like because the world's about to end, but I also felt like she meant like they might not do another Coven season ever again or like a reunion like this ever again. So like I was like, wow, I'm like the girls all in one room eating together, like we might not see this ever in AHS like thing again. So it was really sad.
It's so true. It's like the Last Supper.
Yeah.
So sad. So anyway, speaking of, Mallory's just like depressed across the table, but also like, why is she still wearing like Coachella realness like everywhere she goes?
Mallory is just the epitome of a Coachella like attendant, but
Yeah.
she obviously has. She's like basically the next Supreme, so like we're cool about it, I guess.
Yeah. So she's like depressed on the side, and she's like, "Yo, like Cordelia's like, get lit, like it's fine, like I'm still alive, and there's so much more for you to do. You still have to do like your, test of the 7 wonders, like chill." And even on top of that, like everyone's getting lit, and then Behold is like, "Yo, why are you guys all getting lit? Like we should be freaking out right now. Like there's a freaking person trying to kill us." And I'm like, okay, like you're such a downer. Like everybody's enjoying themselves, but we all know the situation is serious. And then she says something. She's like, I've gone as far as, like, Cordelia is like, relax, like we're trying to figure it out. She's like, I've gone as far as doing something that almost killed me. And then it cuts back to 2 years before the apocalypse, and this is when things got really confusing.
Okay, just remind me that where they are currently at the dinner table, is that 1 year before the apocalypse?
I'm assuming yes,
because I thought it was 3
how
years
much time
before
has
the
passed.
apocalypse. I thought I remember seeing the title card saying 3 years before the end of the world. So that's why I was like, wait, so what does that mean? 2 years before? Like now we're fast forwarding into her freaking future? Like doesn't make any sense. So it must be a year before, and then hers is 2 years before. Flashback, you know what I mean?
And does that also mean that, like, with the whole thing with Michael and Misty Day and all those characters coming back, but wasn't Myrtle in those scenes as well? Like,
was he
with
was
Misty?
She? I thought she was.
I don't remember anymore. Anyway, guys, I'm sure you'll help us clarify what happened in the beginning.
Oh yeah, our fans are on point. Our fans know every single frame of every single season, so they will definitely help us with that for sure.
but yeah, I just feel like the timeline was a little confused, to be completely honest.
And I don't know why they have to say that. Like I don't know why they have to say like this was 2 years before. Like just say like this was happened to me like prior to this night. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. And explain like what great lengths you went to get back freaking Myrtle. So we see her doing this like next level spell, and I thought she was bringing back her mom, but she wasn't. She was bringing back like Myrtle from like burning her to death. And she's like, "Why did you do that to me?" And she was like, "I need your guidance." She's like, "Something bad is happening." Because Myrtle says, like,
she goes, "I told you, do not bring me back. Like, I don't want to come back." But then, and this is the part too that I love their relationship together. Like they're so effing cute together, Cordelia and Myrtle. And there's something that there was such a stronger like motherly like daughter bond between these two than Fiona and Cordelia. And
for sure,
it's just so cute to see that she needed her so much. Like she was like, I need you, I need your guidance, like I need your help. And I think in a world of where like you're a witch, like you have like these crazy amazing powers, but there's still something inside of you that is craving this guidance and like this kind of motherly figure a little bit, right? Like they all still need that in their lives. So like it's such a beautiful moment. Not to get all like real, but yeah.
I was like, damn, that was real, girl. So anyway, then it cuts back to like the present time. She's like, I have all my girls now, I have my army, and now I need to fire the first shot back at these warlocks. So then we get like our epic first slow motion walk with all the girls, and it's like hair flipping and like
amazing,
freaking Myrtle's
so
like
hot.
vaping.
Love
like
it.
It's like such a moment. And they end up back at the gas station, and Zoe brings like all of the ashes back to one place, like where John Henry was burned. And then she turns to Cordelia turns to Mallory and is like, bring him back to life now, like turn up and like bring him back to life. So then you realize that this is all a part of her 7 wonders test. This is the final test, which is like bringing someone back from the dead. And so she brings him back. Or it's not the final test, but it's like one of them. So she like turns the ashes back into like him becoming alive, and it even cuts back to like that black and white kind of like 7 wonders thing that they did for Michael, but it's just like with her now. So then we learn about like John Henry's like, yo, what just happened?
What did you think about them bringing John Henry back?
I was into it. Obviously, like I'm sure you were too. Like he's Shine Jackson, like I'm down. But But like I said, I just feel like at this point in time, other than giving the retribution that they deserve at the very end of the episode, what else were you offering to the story? Like, you just pointed fingers at Miss Meade, which I guess is like the traitor underneath everything. But she's not really a traitor. She's always been a Satanist.
Yeah, she's always been like Michael's supporter. So yeah, exactly. I don't know how she's a traitor.
I wasn't really sure like where she was going with it, because later on, course, so this is the part where Coco is about to eat some ice cream, and like before she does it, she like does her like magic powers, and she realizes how many calories are in the
she's like,
in the ice cream. And then Cordelia is like, sometimes our powers are not just a blessing, sometimes they're a curse. And she's like, true.
She's like, God damn it, I can't even eat ice cream anymore.
Yeah. And so then she was like, Michael has an ally, and we need you to do something for us. And she was like, I'm basically a walking nutrition facts table.
Yeah, like that's all I am.
I don't know like what I can do to like help the situation. And she's like, no. Because she's like, why don't you just ask Mallory? She's like the next Supreme, basically. And she's like, no, she has a part to play, like, but we need your help as well. So this part didn't like kind of confuse me too, because I'm like, Cordelia, like, why are you getting her to do this one thing?
So she literally wanted her to get Miss Meade. Like that was fully her mission, right?
Yes. So she goes up to the car, like, so she follows her to like a store.
Yeah, they're in the supermarket, and she's following her, like Coco's following her.
Like, yeah, she's getting like the hooves from the butcher, and then she ends up back in her car, and as she's leaving, freaking Coco just like walks right up to the window, and she's like, "You are gonna burn in hell." And then she like pulls. She pulls out a gun right away, and she like shoots her right in the chest.
Like before she could even say hell, I think Miss Meade was like, douche. She just like shot her in the chest.
But I'm like, the thing that I was like kind of scared about, it was like, you were willing to put Coco into that much danger. Like, she could have pulled out
No, I know, and I didn't understand this. This is the part that I didn't understand. Like, what did you like? Did they want Coco to kill, like, to get her, or did they know that Miss Meade was gonna shoot Coco?
Like, what was she bringing to the table at this point?
I don't understand.
Where Cordelia is like, we need your help right now. I mean, it was a hilarious moment because she gets shot with a sleeping dart, and she's like, did we get her?
Yeah.
So she gets shot with a sleeping dart. She's about to like take her into her car, and then Miss Meade gets taken away instead by like, I guess like it's just like the money she has like is able to get like bodyguards and like in a car.
Yeah, like she hired bodyguards, I guess, or was it the Coven
like,
that hired them?
That's what I mean. Like, is that your superpower? The fact that you have lots of money?
Yeah,
and, like, I don't understand. So anyway, she's like passing out, and she's like, "Did we get her? She okay?" And then they like take her. They take them both back into the car, and like they dip. Then it cuts back to the bunker, and it shows our boy Baldwin and Ariel, and they're looking at this like powder, and I was like, is that cocaine? Like, they're just like chilling in front of it.
Yeah.
And Baldwin's like, I spent like years doing this, like it's so special. And he's like,
they glow each other up so much, it's actually pathetic. Yeah, like, he's like, you got the powder? Oh, he's like, you're so cool. Wow, what an amazing, like, shut up. Like,
yeah. So he's like, it kills people right away. And then he blows it in his face, and then he was like, why would you do that? He's like, because it only like attacks women. He's like, ha 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 ha. Like,
I was so grossed out. I was like, I got chills at this moment when he said that. I was like, that's actually disgusting that you would do that.
Because it's scary.
Yeah.
It's very scary for the females.
Yeah.
So anyway, Cordelia comes in, and she was like, that's a kind of like a sad joke, because basically like someone already done that. She says Agnes Sampson.
Yeah.
She's like, Agnes Sampson already did that. And I just looked her up, and she like was accused of being a witch way back in the day. And she, I guess, like had the same kind of concept, but it was like for men. It was like against men.
Yeah. So she's like, you basically just copy and pasted her spell, and you made this like
yeah,
big shit. Like, who cares?
She's like, freaking loser.
Yeah.
She's like, get the fuck out of here. And so she burns it instantly. Like, she gets rid of it.
Yeah.
And then she goes like right to both of them, and they're like, get out of here, you like weakling. You're like, your powers are fading. And then she was like, my powers are what? And then she like wipes their freaking mouths literally right off their faces, and they can't speak anymore. Like, they can't even like speak through their mouths. And she was like, say it, bitch. She's like, say it. And she's like, talk to me again.
Yeah.
So she has like her moment. And then it cuts to like the LA sewers, like that area, like in between,
like the underground, the underpass, whatever it's called.
And they have everybody kind of coming up to the pyres, and they're wearing white, and it's like Baldwin and Ariel, and they're putting them against, like, they're doing like the punishment by fire. And she was like, only your brother can light the flame. So we have to like get them to do it. So they bring John Henry in, and like they're gagged, but they can't even say anything because their mouths are missing.
They're literally like gagged. Their mouths are like closed.
They're literally gagged. And so he also pours like liquid, or what's it called, gasoline, on Miss Meade, and then she's like smiling because she was like, I am ready for this fire because like you guys are gonna burn in hell because I've seen the end.
And like she literally wants to go to
like,
hell. Like this is the thing, like she's not scared of death. She's like someone who freaking worships hell and the devil. So like she's like, yes, take me now, let me go.
Which is like annoying. I hate Satanists. Like they're so annoying.
They're so
annoying.
Anyway,
she's like she's so lit, literally, because then he like burns them all three at the same time. And then it's like the slow motion walk of the century. Like they all like walk away and they're like, yes, bitch. Yeah. And that's the end of the episode.
It was good. I liked.
What did you think?
You know, it's funny. We were talking about Cheyenne Jackson and we were like, why did he come back? But I did love this moment at the end with like him. Where, like you do have to see some of these warlocks working with the witches. I think, you know, there's going to be a few that are like evil and a few that are good. So it's nice to see that like some of them are still on the witches' side. And he's just so effing hot. Like I freaking love him. Like he's just so hot. Like him standing with the witches at the end, I was like, yeah, this is it. Like this is my favorite shot. Like I love this.
Sexy pants. Yeah. I just, you know, I guess my biggest fear is like everybody just dying, because we know that like in the future we only see like a handful of the witches and like none of the warlocks at all. So
I'm guessing like after this point when Miss Meade dies, Michael turns her into a robot, right?
Yes. So he probably finds out that she gets burnt to death and uses his memories, or I don't know. And that's the thing too, like why are we talking about robots next episode? Like how is he gonna get this like next level AI robot to
it's crazy,
like
right?
inject her memories into? Like it's very much like a random part of the season. So I don't know if it's gonna lead to the next season. Is it gonna be like AHS like Westworld? Like I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, maybe.
I definitely feel like having a robot in the season is so random. They wouldn't just do it for no reason. Obviously there's like a lead up into something greater, and I feel like it's going to be like the rise of the machines after the apocalypse or something.
That could be it's a good point.
Anyway, let's get into our recap roundups.
Best moment. My best moment was the witch dinner with Evie Gallant, Madison, and Myrtle Snow. I just love like visually it looked so effing Hollywood chic. I think they were at like an iconic LA restaurant. Like I feel like that restaurant's like a popular place.
Oh, okay.
And I think I just loved the idea of like Madison sitting there with like these two OG witches, and they're sort of like talking about their history and like their memories. And she's sort of like she's, I know she hates on everything and everyone, but she's sort of like learning from them too. And I feel like especially with like Madison this season, like she's changing a little bit or a lot. So for her to kind of like get that insight and listen to their stories and like kind of feel that old sisterhood like thing there, it was really cute. And I feel like I just felt like in that moment, I'm like, Madison's gonna do so much for the Coven. Like she's not gonna be supreme obviously, but like I feel like she's gonna lead them like in a different way by hearing these stories and by seeing these like OG witches. And it was just such a really cute like moment. I loved it.
My best moment is gonna go to the Coco situation.
Yeah, oh my god.
She became a calorie counter. I was dying of laughter. I love what they do with her character. She's so entertaining. Leslie Grossman is hilarious. I just think that even seeing her with all the other girls, you can tell that there's this next generation sister. To your point, there's this next generation sisterhood, and they're all enjoying each other's company. And yeah, it was just like it was such a fun part of the show. And I forget how funny AHS can get.
You know, it's amazing. Like in a show that's it is serious and it's very dark and it's very like twisted, that they made time for us to really sit with these girls and enjoy their time together as if we're sitting in the room with them. Like the fact that they made time for that, like I'm so happy they did that, because it just takes me back to the Coven season even, and like it just makes you feel like you're a part of that too, you know? Like it's just fun. WTF moment. My WTF moment was when Mallory heals Coco.
Okay.
And it not even just like, because I did feel like she was gonna like save her obviously when she died, but I think the way she does it too is so graceful. And it's so classy. Like there was no blood. Like no blood was spilled.
True, there was
she
no
like
blood.
Sliced her neck open. Like the skin just like peeled, and she took the thing out, and then she put it back. I'm like, yo, this girl's literally like an angel. Like, what is this? Like, there's no blood, nothing.
Yeah.
Like, it was such a
They
beautiful
make her,
moment.
They definitely make her out to be a lot more like angelic.
Yes,
and like
for sure.
like very careful and graceful in everything she does.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, definitely lends to the fact that she's this next level witch / angel / supreme.
Do you want to see her backstory?
Yes, I absolutely want to see her backstory. I feel like we've been waiting this whole time, and you said it like from the very get-go. I want to see something happen with her character. I want to see,
because they did mention, like you were saying, those Salem witches.
There.
So I feel like they definitely have to go back a little bit and show us her history or her lineage or something, you know?
And you know what? I feel like they will. They have to, because they're gonna have to explain more why she is who she is and why she got to where she is, because they gave that whole storyline to Michael. It's only fair that they give us a little bit more than just like she's an angel and then that's the end of the season, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing where they how they explain that story. So my WTF moment is Nan coming back, just because I didn't expect it at all. So seeing her again was just like not so much a WTF, more like, oh my god, I'm so happy to see you. I know,
loved it.
MVP. My MVP is gonna go to Cordelia, because I just feel like, you know, struggling through what she's had to struggle through, like all the while losing her powers, she's still pushing forward, and she's doing literally everything she can to protect her girls and bring them back together and keep them alive and, you know, get them prepared for the big war that's to come. So I just think that like she killed it this episode for sure. Like, we see how she brought back Myrtle Snow, and, you know, we see her kind of taking justice into her own hands and doing something about this whole Michael situation. She's not just like biding her time, she's doing something about it now. So I'm very excited to see her strategy as like it goes into the rest of the season.
My MVP is gonna be Coco. You know, she's such an amazing, and like I feel like we underestimated her kind of in the beginning, so I'm so happy that she's had this amazing storyline with the girls and how she gets along with the rest of the girls, and it's just fun to watch her. I think Leslie Grossman like absolutely like kills this character. I feel like nobody else could play Coco except for her.
I agree.
So it's a lot of fun to watch her, and again, I do feel like she's gonna play a big role in Mallory's you know, journey after the apocalypse, and I feel like Coco is placed with Mallory on purpose to like protect her, and I feel like we're gonna see her have like a greater purpose for sure.
LVP.
My LVP is John Henry, Cheyenne Jackson. And I love my daddy. Like, I love him so much. He's so effing hot. But he really didn't do much. Like, you're right. Like, all he did was be like, that woman killed me, though. And that was it. Like, and then he, like, sparked the flame, and that was it. So, yeah, thank you for coming back. Like, I missed your eyeliner, but, like, you also didn't really do much anyways, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I mean. No shade against him as a character, like, him as an actor. Mm-hmm. I love Cheyenne Jackson, but, like, him as a character right now, other than the fact that he was, like, true, it was Miss Meade, like, there's nothing more. Unless this is what sparks, you know, Michael to come back and, like, you know, destroy everybody, because, and we probably won't. My LVP is gonna go to his other Miss Meade, like the one who killed him, because I feel like she was pretty useless this episode. Like, what did you do other than walk around like a store, buy cloven hooves? Like, other than what she was created to do, I'm kind of shocked that they gave Kathy Bates this character in general, just because I feel like she's not really adding much to the story.
I don't agree at all. I feel like she's a pretty boss-ass character. I feel like she's very, like, the fact that she's like, I saw you from a mile away in the grocery store. Like, don't freaking play me right now. Like, she's very, she's a tough one. And I feel like Kathy Bates is definitely, like, it was a perfect choice. In my opinion, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know why she's just rubbing me the wrong way this season. I guess like I expect so much more of Kathy Bates because I know what she can bring to the table, and I just feel like this character is very like obvious. It's very like it doesn't feel like original at all. It's like she's a Satanist and that's it. Mm-hmm. Like, she's not gagging me in any regard, and she like pieces out at the end of the episode, and even her like laughing at the end, I was like, okay, we get it, you're like crazy.
I mean, I feel like her being a robot was pretty gag worthy, like in the first few episodes.
Yes, right, but I'm just saying, like, this episode she was kind of like waste case.
Yeah,
like, whatever.
Yeah.
The best line.
My best line, I had two, but my first one was Madison when she was talking to Evie Gallant, and she's like, we are facing a situation, like a world situation, like everything we know hangs in the balance kind of thing. So it's all hands on deck, even the one with age spots. I was like, you are so rude. Like, why are you so rude? And then when Queenie says, like, just quickly, Queenie was like, guess that ass could use another 80 calories, huh? When they were eating the dessert.
As she's like about to choke.
It's so funny.
Death. Yeah, I have a couple as well. One is from Dinah Stevens right at the very beginning. She says, the only thing that matters in this world isn't black or white or black, it's green. You got money, all the doors open.
Very true.
And I'm like, girl, bye.
Preach.
I wish I had voodoo powers so I can make money too. And my second one is obviously to Coco, because the way that they wrote her is so freaking funny. She, like, this is after she takes a spoon of ice cream and she says, I have the power of too much information. How am I ever going to eat another corn dog? Like, she just,
yeah.
The way they write her is just very
so
funny
good.
and so entertaining to listen to and watch. But that's the episode, guys. Let us know what you thought about it. What are you excited for the next, I guess, 3 episodes before the finale? What are you looking forward to? What do you think is going to happen next? You know, like I said, we keep forgetting about the fact that this is in the past, and I'm starting to remember all the characters from the very beginning, like the Romeo and Juliet character, like all these people that died in the very beginning. So I wonder how far they're going to go after they show the past, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, that's the episode,
Thanks
guys.
for listening, guys.
Bye.
Bye.